what drew you to Koala Man?
I mean, honestly, so two things. I'm in love with Alison. She's a little psychopath, and also the Australianness of it, like genuine Australianness, because we all love the Australian episode of The Simpsons, but it's not Australian at all.
You
Like,
guys don't play
we,
Knifey Spoony?
you know what? Because of how good The Simpsons is, so much of that episode genuinely made it into our lexicon. It's it's so weird. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I say dollary doos all the time, and like genuinely like I would have called them Chazwazzers. Like that's just The Simpsons made us more like their version of Australia.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, like sausage rolls and show bags and stuff. I think it's like classically having the classically like dog shit Australian stuff that genuinely sucks, but we really love is really cool to me. Just stuff that is not at all good, but we're like, yeah, but that's us.
Hmm.
That
That's so
makes me
cool.
really happy.
Nice. And you mentioned that you really like Allison as a character. What was it that really stood out to you when you first read about her that made you go, "That's for me"?
So, the reason that I think I love her so much, quickest little story. I did the audition to be Alison and was like, oh, she sounds cool. She's a little mental case. That's great. Um, she's nasty. She's awful to everybody. She like begrudgingly loves her family, but like that's as much as she'll give them. Um, I did that, and then I have a not a plug. I have a podcast and I stream on Twitch. And the casting people saw me and they're like, okay, so Allison's like, she's like a mean little psycho who's always screaming. Um, oh, let's just go on Demi's Twitch stream. Oh, she's perfect. I think I have an affinity with Allison. I appreciate the way she operates.
That's cool. And towards the end of this season, Allison finally finds someone she actually likes
Mm.
with Rosie, but she turns out to be a bit different than expected. So, how was voicing that more heartfelt scene at the end compared to the snarkier scenes?
I really like doing stuff like that because it makes me like super insanely uncomfortable. Like I kind of I do like the proper method stuff. Like I was crying when when Allison was crying, and it kind of like freaked out the people who were recording me. It was like had tears pouring down my face, and they were like, "Hey, dude, you can just like pretend." I was like, I just feel like Um, I really liked it because it does make me insanely uncomfortable. So just going fully into Allison and being like, "All right, I'm just going to pretend to be her because if I have these feelings, that's going to be very upsetting for me." And so
Totally
yeah,
fair. Yeah.
really fun, very uncomfortable.
Nice. And I talked to the writers Dan and Benji earlier, and they told me this is really one of the first big premiere primetime Australian adult animated series. So what's it like to be part of such a monumental project?
It's insane. What am I doing here? This is so stupid. There's so many famous people in the show, and then they've got me. I'm like third build. Sarah Snook and Hugh Jackman. What are you doing? Why am I here? So dumb. It's really cool though.
Yeah, I mean, it's some crazy names on this show, like just in general.
It's wild, and I'm getting like there's pictures of me next to them on the articles and stuff. What is that? What's going on? Ugh.
Oh, that's cool. And so Allison's really also very central to the handball dingo episode. What was recording that one like?
Oh, it's so fun. I've been saying this. I got a little like gift pack from Disney and like the producers and stuff with like this electric tea mug and a bunch of tea and honey because when we did the dingo episode I shredded my throat. I couldn't talk for like a week, but I was like having so much fun doing it. And then it was like, and I knew that I was going to do that as well, and I was like, let's record this bit last, guys, otherwise I am going to ruin the episode.
That's
Like
good foresight.
Allison's going to sound like a smoker for the rest of the episode.
Oh man. And Michael Cusack, he has such a unique type of humor, and he's also he does voice work, animation, and he's more hands-on than most creators might be. So how is working with him in that regard?
It's great. It's so much easier to like have that kind of like live direction and have him be so like also really good at being open to talk about different lines and stuff where we would be like, does that seem like Allison or like do we feel like that's Allison? which is funny to to be that like about a cartoon. But
Would she call her brother cringe?
would she say cringe? Does she like Fortnite? It was kind of it was nice to also have a little bit of freedom with that stuff as well, because there were times where it would be like, all right, we need a couple different lines here, or it's like a group setting or whatever, or we don't really know what line is going to go in here with Alison. Why don't you just say like 50 things in a row? And I was like, yes, because I get very energized, and it's good to be able to let out some creativity when you're doing a job like this.
Yeah, makes sense. And
Yeah.
my last question is, like we said, there's so much brilliant Australian talent in Koala Man. If there was a season two, which fellow Australian creatives, comedians, actors would you like to see in the show?
Oh, my friends are going to be so mad if I don't say them. Man, so there's a guy who has a bunch of different podcasts. He is my friend, but his name is Alexi Toliopoulos, and he's the funniest man I've ever met in my entire life. I think he would do a really good job. As I don't know, he'd love it to. I reckon Dapto's probably a place that still has like Blockbuster or a local VHS store, and I think Alexi could work there. Someone else who I think would be great is Sam Campbell. He's another little weird freak. And he'd be good as like a rat or something. He'd play a really good rat.
That's awesome. There's no higher recommendation than a friend saying you'd play a good rat.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd love it.
Hey, same here.